Hey guys, real quick before this episode gets started, the audio in this one has been a little bit fucked up. I'm not exactly sure why. Um, no big deal, still watchable, just sounds a little weird. I checked the Raw, Smackdown, and Wrestlemania recordings we have left to go, and they're fine, so I'm not sure what happened with this one. But still, you probably should watch just, for the sake of covering the series. But without further ado, here's the actual video. You know what time of day it is, folks. It's time for SmackDown and Superstars, and we got a pretty short episode of Superstars. Didn't plan much into it. Uh, let's just jump right into Superstars. I say that every time. I should probably change my catchphrase, but what else are you gonna do to jump into Superstars? No dark matches today, as we simply have a big hype for WrestleMania. We're coming to you live, well, taped since Superstars, from Harvard Stadium. Pretty much capping all the major feuds: Ryback, Cena, Sting, Punk and Rock, Christian Ziggler, all the main feuds. None of them are going to be on here. We have a pretty decent bout between Dean Ambrose and Justin Gabriel, trying to get Dean over. He pins Gabriel about 8 minutes with the dirty deeds. Dean pretty getting in there. He's stuck in the lower mid card range, so I can't use him per se on big shows because they'll be like, "Hey, you use Dean Ambrose too much," which is why I'm trying to get people over, and that's kind of like the issue of getting people over. But this game has taught me, if you want to get someone over, just push them. That's all you really got to do, and I should follow my own advice. And that's what I'm doing here, is trying to get Dean over with the win over mid Carter, Justin Gabriel. The Undertaker comes on the screen before the crowd. He gets on the mic and does his usual shtick. I like to think it's like the. I'm trying to imagine. I have experimented, not on this show, but for SmackDown, with writing promos. My first written angle, like the custom, not just the custom freestyle angle, but where I do it verbatim. But anyway, how I like to imagine this is there's all kinds of graves with different people's names on them, such as, Jake the Snake, Snuka, Henry, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and The Undertaker. All he has is he's just digging a grave. This is kind of like that segment they did on Raw with Reigns, except a little more thought out. He's digging a grave. He just looks at the camera, doesn't even say anything, and the camera pans down and it just says right back on the grave. And Michael Cole probably acts like, not Michael Cole, Josh Matthews probably acts like that's the scariest fucking thing he's ever seen in his life, because it is. Oh my god! Fucking Matthews. Anyway, we cut, and we got another pretty decent match with Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger getting the red, white, and blue Thunder Bomb on Ezekiel, about 9 minutes. Pretty good match between these two guys. Ezekiel's kind of... I've never been into Ezekiel, and Jack Swagger is interesting. Some days I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, Jack Swagger should have had a better run. And then some days I wake up, and I'm like, Jack Swagger was really shit. So it changes day to day. But, I like Jack Swagger, so I thought I'd give him a win on Superstars, whatever. We have a hype video hyping up AJ Lee and Madison Lane, that feud. AJ Lee's going to be in contest next against, I believe... Eve. She's against Eve Torres, or just Eve. So we'll see how that did. And was there any really ever doubt she was going to beat Eve? AJ Lee getting a 78. Jesus. 5-star AJ. The Geek Goddess gets a submission in 6 minutes with the Black Widow on Eve. And next we have a huge segment. We have tonight's main event. It's going to be SmackDown's Randy Orton taking on Raw's United States Champion Bray Wyatt in the main event for the crowd here. We'll see how that turns out. This match, in order to describe the match, I kind of like the idea of Wyatt. They completely messed it up at WrestleMania, of course. But kind of like Wyatt, Orton, a babyface Orton is kind of odd to me. I've never been into him as a babyface. But if he is a babyface, I kind of like that tweener version of him, where it's still not perfect as a heel Orton, but kind of like a guy who's like, yeah, he's kind of laid back, and then you hit him once, and he's just going to beat the shit out of you. Which he does, but then you got Bray Wyatt, who's just constantly psychotic, who's constantly just on the prowl, constantly play mind games and just that big offense. Like, this is a big, heavy-hitting match, I like to imagine. But during the match, as is common with these two, Evan Bourne shows up on the screen for half a second. I like to imagine he crumps up a sheet mask to look badass despite being how small Matt Sydal is. Bray Wyatt thinks that's the worst thing he's ever seen, which he then immediately runs into an RKO. And this match could have been better. Is there any reason the match low experience? Randy Orton was holding back. Well, both of them were holding back. But actually, it's still pretty good for what it's worth. It could have been a little better. I was kind of hoping for a 90. But Randy Orton still defeats Bray Wyatt with an RKO after the assist from Evan Bourne. Getting under the skin of Bray Wyatt. Let's see how he ended the show. 89A, well, that's probably the highest rated superstars I've ever had. So there's nothing wrong with that. Didn't do any B shows. I'm trying to get just ratings up. Probably after WrestleMania I'll start. Like I said, I don't care about ratings. It's like the 5th time I've said it. But the only time I really will do that is when I start to dip. Like, I noticed I was kind of having a small dip in the U.S. popularity. So just to get that back up so I don't get any, stupid benefactors again, or, disadvantages going into WrestleMania. And I will see you guys now for SmackDown. Alright, we're back with SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown. We're live, and before, in the transition from Superstars to the main show, we have Miami Vices taking on the American Wolves in the dark match, and Miami Vices get the ring when Roderick Strong hits Eddie Edwards with that stronghold submission. Pretty good tag team bout between these two. Glad it's on the pre-show. We're pretty glad. Trying to get the Wolves and Miami Vices over. Trent Barrett and Roderick Strong, obviously. Let's go into the main show. For the first time, I know I mentioned it, we have our first angle. So I'm going to read this verbatim as it happens. So we cut backstage where Insane, they just kind of bust into the general manager's office. They look upset. Kevin Steen goes, "Mr. Michaels, this is insane." He winks at the camera. A little stupid joke that I came up with. Because these guys just come in and they act like they run the place, and now they're getting shot at their titles at WrestleMania. Clearly he's talking about the Motor City Machines. Zayn then goes on to say, "We don't mind fighting them, mind you. Me and Kevin talked about this. It's just," Michaels says, "Look, I get it. These hot shots from down south, I thought they're from Detroit. Look, it doesn't matter. Every tag team right now is hounding me." I'm sorry, I misspelled like an idiot. As usual, I don't write angles. "It's hounding me for a shot at your gold. Now, I booked the Machines in a match tonight. And if it's supposed to be if another team wins, they make it a 4-way dance. Tag team turmoil. Now, I know you guys are upset." Steen holds his hand, signaling SmackDown's general manager to stop. "We get it. We got the target on our backs. But we don't," God, I misspelled like an asshole. "But we don't mind. Me and Sammy, that's how it's always been. And wouldn't have it any other way." And Zayn exit the scene. So, we have a match tonight. Coming up next, it's going to be some random tag teams fighting the Motor City Machines. And if the Motor City Machines lose the match, then the team that pinned them is added to the 4-way dance. Or if any team pretty much the winning team, if it's not the Motor City Machines, is added to the match, I should say. And Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Steen, they don't really care that, they got to fight these guys. They just want to make sure that, they get the chance to actually give them the proper ass kicking they deserve. And we cut to that match. And kind of hope, I'm actually just genuinely surprised this is not, this got as good. And about, they had decent wrestling, but didn't have much to eat. The Shield, the team of Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, beat the Motor City Machines and the Hart Dynasty in a triple threat tag team match when he actually hits with the spear. And I actually was going to edit this, but this is exactly how I wanted it to be. So the Motor City Machines, they hold their own really good. They're able to hit that tandem offense on the Shield, on, the Hart Dynasty, and Sabin, I like to imagine he does a move, And he's like, yeah, he's like, they do one of their awesome tag moves, Shelly and Sabin. And Sabin's like, yeah, I did it. And then he just gets hit with the sickest fucking spear you've ever seen from Roman. Like, he just nails the poor kid. It just takes him out, and he gets the win. So now it's official. The official match for WrestleMania is the Motor City Machines, the Shield, the Kings of Wrestling, and Insane in a tag team turmoil match. Pretty much a tag team fatal 4-way at WrestleMania. Who doesn't love that? And to calm the crowd, we have a match between Ryback and Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted actually takes the Undertaker to the limit. He gets Ryback in a position where it looks like, honest to God, Ted DiBiase is gonna win. Like, he uses his size advantage, and whereas he's smaller, and he just runs around, and he just dodges and weaves, and Ryback starts getting a little gassed. He can't really do much. But then the lights go out, and Ryback just is like, he's ready for something, but he kind of acts like a bitch, like he's on the ground, like, oh, don't hit me. And we see the Undertaker choke slam Ted DiBiase Jr. And the whole crowd's like, what the fuck just happened? Ryback then goes over and pins Ted DiBiase Jr., to which Undertaker then walks up, stares into Ryback, and now it's become clear. Undertaker wants to make sure that Ryback's streak's intact, because he wants to be the one to break it, not just some random guy on SmackDown. Lights go out, disappears. Ryback clearly, last week he wasn't intimidated. This week he's clearly nervous by the events that have just unfolded around him. We got another promo, and I'm surprised this did as well. And this is, if you remember last week, Layla has been assaulted essentially by the Photoshop, which is the stable of women, being cheerleader Melissa, the Bellas, Oksana. And Layla comes down to the ring before she gets a mic, and before she can even talk, the Bella twins and cheerleader Melissa, the Photoshop, with Oksana, they start to make their way to the ring, look like they're going to beat Layla up. And Layla goes, no, that's not what's going to happen tonight. You see, for the past couple of weeks, you've been sheep-shouting me, tweeting smack at me, and telling everyone in the women's locker room that'll pretend to listen that you want to end my career. Well, let me tell you something. I'm far from done, and your little Photoshop group isn't going to change that. But with the spot at WrestleMania left for the card, I wanted to see if you wanted a match. Nikki is handed her own mic. And Nikki says, we accept, of course, and we can't wait to show you why us three, which she interrupts, and, the cheerleader isn't invited. Probably should have mentioned that. And, they do the generic, like, the heels, where they're like, when you say something the heels don't want to hear, and they just flail their arms like it's the worst thing they've heard. They do that little gimmick. She goes, but I also should add one final note. I'm not coming alone. When Michelle McCool makes her, I believe this is the first time she's been on camera. She might have had a dark match, but this is the first time she's returned on camera. Michelle McCool makes her WWE return. She just runs up, takes out Melissa. The rest of the Photoshop just run away like it's the scariest thing, clearly intimidated by having the Undertaker's wife there. Lay Cool has returned and has challenged and is going to fight the Bellas at WrestleMania. So what a bathroom break match that will be. I thought it would be fun to get Layla. I wanted Layla on the card and as the Bellas too, because they pull a decent performance. I'll be honest, it'll probably be the pre-show. Let's be real here. But what a pre-show match it'll be. We then have a hype video in which these are all supposed to be off screen. I'm stupid. The main event is gonna be Christian, Sheamus, and Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, and Daniel Bryan. So Money in the Bank participants, the World Heavyweight Champion, the number one contender, and Randy Orton, because fuck it, he gets good ratings, are going to be a 6-man main event that's going to be absolutely awesome, I bet. It's probably going to suck now that I said that. Never mind, it did great. We have 93 in a superb match. What's it called? Dolph Ziggler hits Sheamus with a zigzag to get the win. I actually should have had him pin Christian. That is my bad. But you know, oh my God, I cannot make words for some reason right now. Christian, leads his team, and the baby faces work coherently, but the heels do as well. Alberto Del Rio, he's the arrogant one, but Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, they're the more, I don't know how to describe it, the more intelligent of the pair. Like, they're focused. Like, you can tell the heels are focused. And once they spot a weakness in Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler takes his moment and he pins him. What else can you really say about that? So we have, Chris, the baby face is losing, and to go home and end the show, Ziggler, as soon as the match ends, he pins Sheamus. He runs right at Christian, knocks him off the apron. Maybe imagine like Big E's like mid rope spear. They just start wailing on each other, and Christian ends up being the offset of that. I mean, he didn't expect to get speared through the damn bottom of the rope. I mean, the middle of the rope. So we end SmackDown with the number one contender standing tall over the champion. Is this actually going to be the end of Christian's time in WWE? We'll have to see. So we're going to end the show here. Let's see. 94A, standard stuff, really good. I actually really like this Mania. I experimented with the angle writings. It wasn't... This Zayn one had a lot of fucking shit because I just wrote it off the fly. But, overall, I really liked it. Thanks, guys, for watching. We're literally just this Sunday, not, in real life, is not this, oh, God, I can't make words today. We're going to, WrestleMania's here, is what I'm saying. WrestleMania is about to be here. I'm super excited. I hope you're super excited. I just want to take this time to say thanks, everyone, so far. I have the couple episodes up already. They're doing great. It's doing way better than I ever thought I would. So glad so many are interested in the series. And I will see all of you for the last Go Home Raw before we get into WrestleMania 29.